Welcome back, everyone, to Creative Mind, Designer's Edition, on the Mind Upgrade channel. And huge thanks to Sweeto Productions for helping us make this deep dive happen. They do incredible audio and visual work, so
Yeah, they're fantastic.
definitely check them out. Today, we're tackling something I think every designer struggles with. It's, how to eliminate distractions and actually boost your focus while you're in that design zone,
Never.
trying to get work done. You sent us a ton of articles and notes on this topic, and wow, there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff in there. I think one of the things that's really cool is that this is a unique challenge for designers, right? You need peak creativity, but the world we live in today, it's almost designed to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah. It's a constant battle. It's like, you're trying to paint this masterpiece, but at the same time, you're juggling flaming torches and answering trivia questions. It's just never ending.
Exactly. It's like multitasking mayhem.
But before we get to those juicy solutions, right? Like, how do we actually fight this? We got to start with WHY focus is so important for designers specifically.
Yeah, it's more than just getting things done, right? It's about tapping into that creative zone.
Hmm.
I was looking at this article, Creative Designer Skills, Roles, and Responsibilities, and it really hit home how much deep focus is needed for things like ideation, branding, like building that visual identity across all these different kinds of media. It's a lot.
It really is. It's not easy.
Mm.
And you can't, really nail a brand's essence when you're also, mentally planning out what you're going to have for dinner later.
Right. You're splitting your brain in a million different directions.
And that same article, they list out all these different design roles, multimedia designers, web designers, and they all require serious focus to really do their best work.
Totally. You can't cut corners on focus in this field.
They can't, yeah.
And here's where it gets even trickier. This article, The Role of Psychology in Design, dives into how our own minds can actually work against us. Have you ever heard of Hick's Law?
Vaguely it rings a bell, something about choices. Right?
Yes, exactly. It basically says that the more choices we have, the longer it takes us to make a decision. So, think about when you're staring at your design software's menu,
Mhm.
and you've got, a zillion font options, right?
Yeah.
Hick's Law is in full effect there, making it harder to just pick one and move on.
Choice paralysis is real, especially for us visual people.
It's a real struggle.
So we've got to watch out for Hick's Law. Got
We
it.
do, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's also this thing called cognitive overload, which is basically what happens when our poor brains get totally fried by too much information at once.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
As a designer, you're juggling client feedback, you're looking at visual references, you're trying to keep up with design trends. It's like, no wonder we hit these focus walls.
Right, because it all adds up, doesn't it? It's not just one thing.
Exactly. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, but for our attention spans.
Okay, so we've got Hick's Law making decisions tough and cognitive overload making our brains feel like scrambled eggs. What can we do about this? It's not like we can just unplug from the world and design in a vacuum.
Luckily, there's this really cool methodology called design thinking. And get this, we can actually use it on ourselves.
Wait, seriously? We can, design our way to better focus.
Exactly. There's this great article, What is Design Thinking and Why is it Important? And it breaks it all down. Design thinking isn't just for products, it's for solving problems, any problems, and lack of focus is definitely a problem.
I'm already intrigued.
It's got these different phases. You empathize, you define the problem, you ideate solutions, you prototype and test them. We can use those same steps to tackle our own focus struggles, like it's a design project in itself.
My mind is blown. Okay, so design thinking is our secret weapon here. I love it. But what are some specific tactics we can start using, right now, to minimize those distractions? What are some things we can put into practice?
Well, there's another psychological principle called Jacob's Law, and this one's all about consistency. The idea is that people expect things to work in familiar ways. Think about how annoying it is when a website does something totally unexpected.
Ugh, yes. Like when the button you always click is suddenly on the other side of the screen, throws you off completely.
Exactly. Now, think about that in terms of your workflow as a designer. We're jumping between different tools, different websites, social media. It's like no wonder our brains get fatigued.
It's inconsistency overload.
It totally is.
Okay, so I'm getting this. Just like we design user-friendly interfaces, we can design a focus-friendly ecosystem for ourselves.
You got it.
But with so much to remember as a designer, how do we even keep track of it all?
That's where understanding our own short-term memory comes in. It's limited, which might sound like a bad thing, but it's actually an opportunity. The Role of Psychology in Design article points out that we can only hold a tiny amount of information in mind at once.
Which explains why I walk into a room and immediately forget what I was doing.
Exactly. But for designers, this means we have to be strategic. Instead of trying to keep every single design detail, deadline, and client request in your head, make it visual. Write those things down.
Oh, that makes sense.
Have notes, mood boards, key references. Keep those things visible so your brain doesn't have to work so hard to access them.
That's brilliant. It's like externalizing our mental load, right? Almost like visual cues in a user interface.
Exactly.
And speaking of interfaces, remember those website examples where the search bar keeps your search terms visible? Or those filters that show you what's been excluded? Those are there to reduce cognitive load for the user. We can totally steal that idea for ourselves.
100%.
Okay, I'm loving this. It's like we're hacking our brains to work with us, not against us.
That's exactly what it is.
And it all ties back to design thinking, doesn't it?
It does.
We're empathizing with our own focus struggles, defining the problem, brainstorming solutions. It's a process, something that we can repeat and refine over time.
It's a design process for your mind.
I love that. This is giving me so much to think about. We've covered a lot of ground already. Hicks' law, cognitive overload, Jacob's law, and this is only part one.
And we're just getting started.
There's so much more to explore.
There is, but there's one more element I think is really crucial for focus, and that's the concept of place.
Okay, place, as in where we work.
Mm-hmm.
Does that really make a difference?
A huge difference. There's an article called Creative Metacognition in Design Thinking, and it talks about how our environment directly impacts our creative output. Think about it. Where do you feel the most focused and productive? What's special about that space?
That's a good question. I definitely do my best work in my home office. I've got natural light in there, minimal clutter. I feel very zen.
Exactly. And that's not a coincidence. It shows the power of intentionally designing your workspace, whether it's physical or digital, to be a focus-enhancing zone. What if you could replicate those elements that make you feel so productive, even when you're not in your ideal spot?
Whoa, that's a game changer. So it's not just about decluttering. It's about actually creating an environment that supports our focus. It's like designing the user experience of our own workspace.
I love that. And it leads us to another important concept, which is balanced thinking. To really improve your focus, you actually need to improve the overall quality of your thinking.
Interesting. Okay, so how do we do that?
And that relies on balance, having critical thinking, creative thinking, and practical thinking all working together in harmony.
So it's not just about blocking distractions, it's about strengthening our mental game overall.
Precisely.
So like working out our mental muscles, basically.
That's a great way to put it. And you know what can help us develop that balance?
Let me guess. Design thinking.
You got it. It's such a versatile tool for tackling these challenges. But we're going to have to save that deep dive into balanced thinking for another episode. There's just too much good stuff to cover.
Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be good.
I know, right?
But for now, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more focus-boosting goodness. Stay tuned.
It's fascinating, right? How we can borrow these concepts from web design and actually use them to optimize our own thinking.
Totally. It's like we're becoming the UX designers of our own minds, which is kind of a cool thought.
Yeah.
And, it makes me think about Jacob's law and that whole idea of needing consistency. And it reminds me of another struggle that I think a lot of designers face, which is just the sheer volume of visual information that we're bombarded with every single day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, mood boards, references, design trends, client feedback, it's like a visual feast out there. But it can also lead to some serious cognitive overload.
Exactly. It's like trying to savor a gourmet meal while someone's flashing a slideshow in your face. You just can't take it all in. So how can we apply design thinking to tame this visual beast, so to speak?
Well, one strategy I think is really helpful is being more mindful about how you curate those visual inputs. So instead of having this constant stream of images coming at you all the time, what if you created dedicated time blocks for visual research and inspiration?
I like that. It's like a visual diet for the brain,
Yeah.
limiting the junk food and prioritizing the nutrient-rich stuff.
Exactly. It's all about balance and intention. You don't want to starve your creative eye, but you also don't want to overload it. And this is where I think another design principle comes in handy, which is progressive disclosure.
Ah, yes. Progressive disclosure. I remember learning about that. Isn't that about revealing information gradually, like in a user interface?
You got it. Instead of hitting users with everything all at once, you progressively reveal more details as they interact. Like, think about a website that expands with more information as you click, rather than just giving you this massive wall of text up front.
Right, right. It makes it so much easier to digest. So are you saying that instead of having like a million tabs and images open at once, we can create a more controlled visual flow?
Exactly. Organize those reference images into clear folders. Use tools that let you focus on one visual element at a time. It's about taming the visual chaos and giving your brain a chance to actually process things without getting overwhelmed.
It's like we're designing visual hierarchy for our own thinking. I'm really digging this.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder about the role of color in all of this. Does the color of our environment actually affect our focus?
That's a great question. There's actually quite a bit of research that suggests that certain colors can impact our mood, our energy levels, and even our cognitive performance. Blue light, for example, is thought to boost alertness, while green is often associated with calmness and focus.
So maybe blue for those intense design sprints and green for those deep thinking or brainstorming sessions. It's like designing the color palette for our optimal mental state.
I love how you're connecting this to design. And again, this is where design thinking really encourages us to experiment, right? Try out different colors in your physical and digital workspaces and just observe how they impact your focus.
So no more blindly following color trends. It's about using color strategically to create a focus-friendly environment.
This is so cool. We've covered so much already, from Hick's law to place, and how we can apply design thinking to tackle these focus challenges. Where do you see this conversation heading in the future? Like, where do we go from here?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
As technology keeps advancing, I think the battle for our focus is only going to intensify, right?
Hmm.
But I also believe that design thinking will become even more crucial for navigating this new landscape. Imagine design software that actually adapts to your individual work patterns and helps you minimize distractions. Or workspaces that automatically adjust the lighting and soundscapes throughout the day to create that optimal focus zone.
That sounds incredible. It's like having a personalized focus coach built right into our design tools and environments.
Exactly. And I think these advancements are going to be fueled by a deeper understanding of cognitive psychology, like how our minds actually work. It's not just about designing better products anymore. It's about designing better ways of thinking and working. So we're not just designers of visual experiences. We're becoming designers of our own cognitive experience.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is.
But before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, is there anything else that you think our listeners should keep in mind when it comes to focus and distractions?
You know, one concept that's really stuck with me from exploring all of these sources is metacognition,
Mm.
which is basically the ability to think about thinking, right? It's about becoming more aware of your own thought processes, your strengths, your weaknesses, and how your environment actually impacts your ability to focus.
So it's like taking a step back and observing our own minds at work, almost like user research on ourselves.
Exactly. And it's crucial for designing a focus strategy that actually works for you. Without that self-awareness, we can easily fall into patterns that actually hinder our focus without even realizing it.
That makes total sense. We can have all the best tools and techniques in the world, but if we're not aware of our own mental habits and tendencies, then it's not going to do us much good. Precisely. So the invitation is to cultivate that metacognitive awareness. Pay attention to what helps you focus, what distracts you, and how your environment is influencing your thinking.
It's like becoming the expert user of our own minds. And, this brings me back to something you mentioned earlier, which is the iterative nature of design thinking. If we're constantly learning and adapting our focus strategies, doesn't that mean our environments might need to evolve as well?
You're absolutely right. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. Just like we iterate on our designs, our environments should also adapt to our evolving focus needs as we learn more about ourselves.
So maybe it's about having that dedicated focus zone, but also having the flexibility to change things up when I need a fresh perspective.
Exactly. Or maybe it's about incorporating elements that can be easily rearranged. Like, think about those modular building blocks we had as kids.
Oh, I love that analogy. It's like building a workspace that's functional and playful and adaptable,
Yeah.
which honestly sounds like a good design principle in general.
It totally is. And that sense of playfulness can actually be really good for creativity and focus. I think sometimes we take this whole pursuit of focus way too seriously.
It's true. We get so stressed about distractions, but even the most focused designers, they have their moments of, shall we say, creative wandering.
It's part of being human, right?
Yeah.
The key is not letting those moments completely derail you. Acknowledge them, learn from them, and then gently redirect your focus back to the task at hand.
It's like a little mental reset button.
Mhm.
And this whole conversation, this whole journey, it really reminds me of how much we've learned just by diving into these sources.
Mm,
Psychology, design principles, the impact of our environment. It's all connected.
it really is. And it highlights how focus isn't just about productivity, it's about our well being as creative professionals. When we can truly focus, we can tap into flow, creativity, a sense of fulfillment in our work.
It's about designing a work life that's not just effective, but also enjoyable and meaningful. This has given me so much to think about. It's not about becoming some kind of productivity robot. It's about understanding my own mind, creating those supportive environments, and embracing that iterative process.
Beautifully said. It's been such a pleasure exploring all of these ideas with you.
Likewise. And a huge shout out to Swato Productions for their amazing work on this episode. Their audio and visual expertise is top-notch.
They are fantastic.
Definitely check them out. And to all of you listening, thank you so much for joining us on Creative Mind. Designer's Edition, brought to you by the Mind Upgrade. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to design your own path to a more focused and fulfilling work life. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.